And just like that, in the last 24 hours, the Giants signed a starter and a closer? What? Let's talk about it right here on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Giants. My name is Alan Stiles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, thanks to great people like you, the #1 sports podcast network. On the show, we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay Area, but I live in Sacramento now, and I host a show at Sacktown Sports 1140, the Alan Stiles Show. Be sure to check that out, as well as emceeing Sacramento Rivercast games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we are discussing the fact that the Giants signed not one, but two pitchers and also a couple other players within the last 24 to 48 hours, Adrian Houser and Jason Foley. They are on the Ketel Marte ban list. How much does that matter? And all the other moves they have made. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. So a lot can happen in 24 hours when it comes to any team that you cover, any team that you're a fan of. And the Giants decided that it was time to make some moves, okay? So they make a move. This is from Jeff Passan. Right-hander Adrian Houser and the San Francisco Giants are in agreement on a 2-year, $22 million contract with a club option for a third year, sources tell ESPN. Between the signing of Jason Foley and the addition of Houser, who we'll talk about Jason Foley as well, the Giants are shoring up their pitching staff. So I'm not going to sit here and do the thing where I pretend like Adrian Houser is this household name that you're supposed to know because I'm super familiar with him, because I'm not, and I don't think you are either. But we are going to go through what Adrian Houser has done and how we think, and I think he can benefit the Giants in this next season. All right. So this is from the Chronicle. The Chronicle confirmed that San Francisco has agreed to a 2-year, $22 million deal with Adrian Houser pending a physical. I know that always gives people a little cause to pause. That includes a club option for a third year. Houser, who turns 33 next month, was 8-5 with the 3.31 ERA with the White Sox and Rays last year. Houser started the season in the minor leagues with Texas, but after being released, Chicago signed him and put up a 2.1 ERA in 11 outings, prompting the Rays to deal for him at the trade deadline. So the Rays went out and got him to try to make a push there. He fared less well with Tampa, with opponents batting .276 against him with 7 home runs in 10 games. Houser is most familiar from his days with Milwaukee, where he was 31-34 with a 4 ERA and a 2.07 strikeout to walk ratio. He also made 5 trips to the injured list, primarily for repeat groin strains. I strained my groin once. It's not fun. Then elbow issues in 2022 and 2023. The Brewers traded him to the Mets before the 2024 season, and much of that year he pitched out of the bullpen. He can also provide relief help in that way. The Giants need at least one more starter and have been connected with some of the top available free agents, including Framber, Valdez, and Zach Gallen. Houser is likely to slot as the number 4 starter, depending on the composition of the rotation. He's known for his sinker, which, given a quality defense, could make him particularly a nice fit for San Francisco. And he is himself known as a good fielder. All right. So the Giants have a type. We've talked about that before, and their ability to go out and get guys that we know are good at throwing ground balls, are good at inducing ground balls, and keep the ball out of the air, even though there is a level of, I guess, forgiveness, you should say, at Oracle Park when it comes to the ground balls. This is another thing that was interesting. Houser had improved his velocities. Okay, so these are his velocity jumps from 2024 to 2025. His fastball in 2024 was 93.6. In 2025, it was 95.2. His sinker in 2024 was 92.5. In 2025, it was 94.4. His slider in 2024 was 83.2. In 2025, it was 88.1. So, these aren't small things here. And we're seeing pitchers be able to figure out different tweaks with what they can do with their body and how their body works and what's the best way to get the most out of their body and their torque and things like that. I had a guy when I was playing in college at Temple University, junior year, he was barely touching 90. And, when you're a junior, you're about 20, 21 years old. Well, nowadays you can be about 24, but back in those days, early 2010s, if you will, he was touching barely 90. He came back. And his senior year, I was actually gone, but I followed him because he was a year younger than me. He came back and he was throwing 93, 94 miles per hour and actually ended up getting drafted by the Phillies. So you can do stuff like this at different spots in your career. So this isn't extremely random or something that doesn't happen a ton, but we're seeing it more often because players and pitchers are trying to find every little adjustment they can make to give themselves just a little bit more of an advantage when it comes to torque and speed and velocity and things like that, whether that be hitters with their launch angle and their ability to hit the ball out of the yard or their pitchers with their velo. So that is something that Adrian Houser was able to accomplish, at least in the short term in 2024, moving into 2025. I also have just his clean stats and what he's done just in general. His WAR over his career of 5.9, and he has 40 wins and 44 losses. His ERA of 4.06. He's pitched in 173 games. He started 125 games. He has one save. He's pitched 733 and 2/3 innings with 576 strikeouts and a 1.36 whip. So, this is what the Giants said they were going to do, go out and sign guys like this. I'm not going to lie to you. When I look up my trusty athletic site, right, or that article that has all the projections, Adrian Houser, I did not see him on it. I did not see him on it. All right. That's not to say that nobody is talking about him, but he is not, or he was not known as one of those bigger name free agents. So I'm not going to pretend like he is and say that everything the Giants do is good. But what we do know is that this guy did pitch in 2025. He started a good amount of games in 2025, and he pitched so well for the White Sox that the Rays, who did pretty well against the Giants, the Rays went out and they wanted to get him and add him to their roster as they were making a push to try to make the playoffs. So that's what we do know. What we don't know is how effective he'll be in San Francisco. What we don't know is whether or not his velocity will stay where it was. We don't know that yet, right? But we wouldn't know that with any pitcher, and the Giants are looking for deals where they can save a little bit of cash or a lot of cash. In this opinion, they have essentially signed a couple guys here for but less than the price of one of the big name free agents. And they still could go get a free agent. As the Chronicle writes, he could slot in as that number 4 guy. So you'd have Robbie Ray, obviously Logan Webb, Landon Roop, and then you add in Adrian Houser, and they're saying they could go get one more guy. So I think the reality is you probably trust him more than some of the names that we've talked about, the Carson Wisenhunts, the Hayden Birdsongs, and guys like that. So that is a way that the Giants have improved. If you were looking for a big name out there, then no, you probably aren't thrilled with this signing, but you never know what could happen. A lot of people are saying they could go get a Scherzer at this point, and that last starting spot could be a rotation between Scherzer and the young guys, and maybe even this spot too, depending on how Adrian Houser performs, and you rock and roll and go from there. They also signed a closer. Let's talk about that on the other side. More Locked On Giants coming up. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump right into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. And I know with the playoffs coming up for the NFL, it's going to be even more high stakes. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. I have to tell y'all about my favorite jeans. My doers, seriously, they've changed my life. Right now, I'm wearing the Performance Denim Slim Straight, and I cannot get over how comfortable these jeans are. I've been reaching for my doers for everything, running errands, grabbing dinner with friends, even heading to the ballpark because they look great and feel even better. Here's the thing. Doer jeans have 5 times the stretch of traditional denim, so you can actually move in them. They're also antibacterial, which means they stay fresh longer, wear more, wash less, and they're made with CoolMax technology that helps regulate body temperature and wick moisture, so you stay cool and comfortable as the day changes. Honestly, they feel as stretchy as my favorite joggers, but look like I'm dressed to go out on the town. Doer is all about combining classic jeanswear style with athletic level comfort and performance. It's the best of both worlds. They actually pioneered the original performance denim, blending technical innovation with everyday clothing that looks sharp and feels incredible. Simply put, Doer makes the world's most comfortable pants without sacrificing style. Once you try them, they'll be your go-to pair. Trust me. And if you're in San Francisco, check out Doer's store at 567 Hayes Street. Pick up a pair for yourself or grab one as an amazing holiday gift. Mention my promo code LOCKEDONSF in store to get 15% off your first order, or shop online at shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF for that same 15% off. That's shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF. Your new favorite jeans are waiting. So not only do the Giants sign a starter, they also sign a closer, okay? But before we get into the Jason Foley stuff, and it is a pretty interesting situation and decision that the Giants made. I guess you could call it low risk, and we'll see about the reward. I wanted to mention Ketel Marte because we were talking about Brendan Donovan yesterday and how the Giants are obviously included and being shown as a front runner along with the Mariners when it comes to Brendan Donovan. And in that article that I read yesterday, there was also a mention of Ketel Marte. Well, Ketel Marte has actually put out a list, and in that list, it's called a no trade list. So basically, if you have a no trade clause, let's say, for example, Matt Chapman, who there's always somebody in the comments every day that wants to trade Matt Chapman. I will remind you once again, Matt Chapman has a no trade clause. But if the Giants and Matt Chapman came to a decision that they wanted to part their ways, the good thing about a no trade clause for the player is that you can use it to say, well, don't send me here. All right. So even if you decide, hey, I do want out, but don't send me to these places, the team would have to honor that. So that's what Ketel Marte has done. And this is from Mr. Rosenthal, of course. Ketel Marte has 5 teams on his no trade list: the Athletics, the Yankees, the Pirates, the Cardinals, and the Giants. Ketel Marte has added the Giants, or included the Giants, on his no trade list. You'd have to ask him why. Maybe he just don't mess with the Giants, right? In the division. I mean, you talk about division, though, and he didn't bring up the Rockies, and he didn't bring up the Dodgers or the Padres, but he did bring up the Giants are actually the only NL West team that he brought up. So I guess I respect it. If there is a little bit of a rivalry there, I know most Giants fans won't think of the Diamondbacks first on that list in the NL West, because you got the Dodgers, of course, number 1, and then you got the Padres. But for whatever reason, maybe he doesn't like Oracle. Maybe that could be part of it. Maybe he doesn't want to go play at Oracle Park. Maybe he knows that it's a dead zone out there and he wants his numbers to look right. I don't know, but he has included the Giants on his no trade list. So assuming the Diamondbacks do honor that, right? Well, I mean, they have to honor it based on the contract. Ketel Marte will not be coming to the San Francisco Giants. So you don't have to worry about the Bryce Eldridge conversation and anything like that, because he's taken the control out of the Giants' hands by saying, I've already told the team not to send me there. So that was something that I wanted to make sure that I spoke on, because, it's something you don't necessarily see in the fact that the Giants are the only, now that I reread the list, the only NL West team that he included. I guess that's a level of respect. We'll go with that one, right? Maybe. Okay, let's get to the closer that the Giants signed. And this one is a little bit different than the starter situation. Again, this is from the Chronicle. Jason Foley did not pitch in 2025. But he did have 28 saves in 2024, and opponents hit 228 against him. Foley throws a particularly nasty slider. Hitters batted 113 on that pitch in 2024, and he's allowed only one homer on the pitch in his career. That's from StatCast. Foley, when healthy, will hold down a high leverage spot in the bullpen, but he's unlikely to hop straight into the closer role off of the IL. So basically, the Giants sign a closer eventually, right? Eventually, they will have a closer. Obviously, we know what happened with Camilo Doval, who is now in New York, and we know what happened with Randy Rodriguez, the breakout star, who ended up, messing up his elbow, and now he's going to be out for the next season. So the Giants had a decision to make, and they had to find a way to improve their bullpen and go get a closer. And these are the types of around the fringes moves, okay, that we've discussed that the Giants are going to do. Right. So, a lot of people are saying this is a good upside deal for him. Jeff Young says, similar to Adrian Houser, Jason Foley has a contact heavy profile. He throws his sinker more than half the time, which is not surprising. Does not miss many bats, though. Oftentimes, this type of reliever is suited for middle relief, but Foley did convert 28 saves, as we mentioned, in 32 chances in 2024. All right. Baseball Unstitched says 2025 was disastrous for Jason Foley. A rough spring training landed him in AAA and subsequently on the IL for the rest of the season. After being DFA'd by Detroit, he signed with a one-year deal with the Giants. The hard-throwing sinker baller will have an opportunity for late innings in SF. So they go out, they get him, and last but not least, of course, Susan Slusser. I've had the Adrian Houser deal confirmed pending the physical. The Giants remain in the market for another starter, potentially front of the rotation. And with Jason Foley unavailable until midseason, they're also still looking at free agent relievers and trade possibilities. So even though they made this move, expect the Giants to go get a little bit more. They signed him for 1 year, $2 million, which is potato chips and peanuts for the Giants. Maybe not for you and I, but they signed him as a kind of low risk situation. But here's the thing. Is it really low risk? Because the Giants do need a closer, and he's not going to be available to the midseason or until the midseason. So they still got to do different moves, and they're working around the edges right now, but I would expect them to do something else, right? It ain't going to be Edwin Diaz because he's down there in LA, and I keep seeing his interviews about, I wanted to go to a winner. All right, Edwin, enough, right? Enough. You're with the Smurfs, just go. But we do see the Giants making a couple moves to try to improve their situation. They have also made a couple other transactions that we want to discuss as well, and we will get to them in the last segment. Don't move. More Locked On Giants coming up. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why Game Time is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app, and the layout makes makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. The seat view feature is a game changer. You literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. It takes the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, Game Time. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club to get Locked On Giants with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonsfgiants.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. If you're a true diehard Giants fan, the Everydayer All Access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with me, all access episodes, an exclusive newsletter, and 15% off discount to the Locked On merch store. Head to lockedonsfgiants.supercast.com to join the Everydayer Club and unlock all access. You can also find the link in the show notes. One more segment with you with a couple other moves that the Giants have made. They go and get another pitcher. They also got a catcher. So we're going to go over those notes right now. Gregory Santos. Okay. And let me start here. He did pitch in 2025. So I want to make that very clear. He pitched in 8 games and he pitched in 7 innings in 2025. So Gregory Santos is a Dominican right-hander, and he signed a minor league contract with an invitation to spring training with the San Francisco Giants. That's from Francis Romero. Santos was non-tendered by the Seattle Mariners after the 2025 season. Jeff Young says, if that name sounds familiar, Gregory Santos was a Giants prospect not that long ago. He was traded to the White Sox in 2022. He really only has one full season under his belt, which was in 2023. He pitched to a 3.69 ERA with 66 strikeouts and 17 walks in 66 in a third inning. So, yeah, there's another option for the Giants, somebody that they are going to see what he does. And like I said, an invitation to spring training, another low-risk guy that they're trying to see, all right, could we actually have something here? They're looking for a lot of, I was going to say uncut gems. They're looking for a lot of hidden gems, right? And that's where the Giants are at right now. I still think they might have a bigger move. That move could be Max Scherzer or it could be Imai. We don't know. I mean, they keep telling us it's not going to be Imai, but if you were going to make a move, would you tell everybody that you were going to make said move? So I think there's still some hope there if that's who you want, or just a name out there like Framber, Valdez, guys like that. So that is one of the moves they made. Another move they made is for catcher infielder Jake Holton. So Jake Holton, the San Francisco Giants have signed Jake Holton to a minor league contract. The first baseman has batted .259 along with 185 extra base hits throughout his minor league career. So Jake Holton is, I was reading, and honestly, the write-up on him, it isn't outstanding. Kind of says that he's another first baseman, if I'm being honest with you. They're not really sure what his position is. Jake Holton was drafted by the Tigers in the 10th round in 2019. He is 27 years old, from San Jose. Shout out San Jose, local guy. So a couple different opportunities that will pop up for him, and we'll see how that goes. Again, our guy Jeff Young with the deeper dive. Jake Holton has appeared in the Eastern League in each of the past 4 seasons and has posted an .808 OPS during that time. He is slashing .419, .510, .674 in 51 plate appearances for Gigantes del Cibao of the Dominican Winter League this season. So he's playing well right now. And, you know, he's had a couple different opportunities here. This is the summary that I was talking about that doesn't make things sound great. This is from when he was with the Tigers minor league report. All right. So the write-up they have on Jake Holton. Jake Holton, this is how it starts, by the way. Jake Holton plays the wrong position. That's not to say he's a bad first baseman, quite the contrary. He's a very good defender at first, and as a former pitcher, he is also gifted with a strong arm. Holton takes walks, he hits for solid average, and he has plus raw power, but he can't really play any position other than first. He hasn't seen time in the outfield since 2022 in West Michigan, and neither his hit tool nor his game power are quite good enough to project him as a big leaguer. He is a great player for the organization, and he has been a huge part of Erie's back-to-back Eastern League titles, but it would probably take an emergency to get him to Detroit when he was in Detroit. So that is kind of the write-up on Jake Holton. Essentially, the Giants have made a couple different moves, and this is a minor league move to keep things going in AAA. Maybe he surprises some people and figures things out. Crazier things have happened, but don't expect to see a ton of him. Obviously, the Giants have made a couple different moves with backup catchers, and they got guys coming up, and we know how the situation is at first base, but you need somebody to play first base out there in Sacramento or out here in Sacramento. So maybe that's the Giants' thought process. So a couple moves that they make that's not going to make anyone jump out of their seat. But if one of these moves works out for the Giants, I think it would be a good thing, and it would make us feel better, because I do think they got one more ace up their sleeve. Even if it's not a highly paid ace, it could be somebody that helps the Giants in the 2026 season. Thank you for watching Locked On Giants. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at @the_Styles Files, Styles with an I. Did Locked On make your Spotify Wrapped? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On podcast account on any social platform, and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 Locked On Podcast Network on YouTube, that channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We will be back tomorrow. We appreciate you taking the time to listen and watch, like, and subscribe. And until tomorrow, we'll talk to you. Peace.